Hey, hi everyone. In this video, we will be solving the day 2 of the March Leetcode challenge, which is the set mismatch. So let us check the question first. So here we have been given an integer s, which originally contains all the numbers from 1 to n, and unfortunately, due to some error, one of the number in this set s got duplicated to another number in this set. Okay, which results in repeating of one number and loss of one number and loss of another number. Okay, so we have been given an integer array nums representing the data set status of this set after the error. So we have to find out the number which occurred twice and the number that is missing, and return them in the form of an array. Okay, so let us look at the example. So I think this is the example which is given to us. So ideally it should be from the range 1 to n, that is it should contain 1, 2, 3 and 4, but due to some reason this 3 has been replaced by 2. So here 2 is the number which is being repeated, so that is the first index of this array, and the number 3 is the number which is missing, so that is the second index of the result array. Similarly, here is the same case. So here also it is 0. At 0th index it should contain 0 here. uh, yeah, so at the 0th index is 1, and at the 1th index it should contain 2, but due to some error it contains 1. So here we can say that 1 is the number which is repeating, so that is the index 1, and 2 is the number which is missing. So I would suggest you guys to pause this video and try it on by yourself, and then come back to this solution. So let us look at the way in which this particular thing can be solved. One of the very important thing to note here is that the index which we have is from 0 to n. Sorry, is from 1 to n. The numbers which we have is from 1 to n. So we can easily leverage this property and just try to look at the solution. So how exactly we would move is that, so this is the initial configuration which we have. Okay, so now if you check it, what we can do is that somehow I need to understand that this particular element which I am traversing is already present or not. So let's say whenever I'm traversing the first element, I should somehow know that okay, this element I have already seen it or not. This element I have already seen this one or not. So using the property, as we know that the element are from 1 to n, we can easily do that. So how exactly we can do is that we can take this number and try to go at that index minus 1. So here the number is 1. So we will go to the index 1 minus 1. So let me just explain it to you in a better way. So what we will do is that nums of I minus 1 is what I am going. So here I will take 1 minus 1, that is equal to 0. So I'll go to the index 0 and I will just negate this value. Whatever value is present, I will just negate it. So after that 1 becomes minus 1. So this means that if again by some reason I come at this particular position, I know that there is already a number which has come to this position, and now as it is negative, I can say that this is the number which is being repeated. Okay, so similarly for the next part I would go to nums.to, that is 2 minus 1, that is 1. So I'll go to index 1 and I will negate it again. So again for the third time I will go to index 2 comma 1, 2 minus 1, that is again 1. So here when I'll come, so here I'll see that the number which I have is a negative number, whereas the ideally the numbers are from 1 to n, right? And this is negative number. That means I have already seen this number. in my array, and that is how I will get to know that okay, this is the number which is being copied twice, and again it would be happening like this, and then again I'll go to the I'll just store this number then, and then I will go at the fourth index and I will do 4 minus 1, that is I'll go to index number 3 and I'll just negate it. So that is how after the first for loop I will get the repeating number as 2, and this is how my array would be looking like after the first pass. Okay, so now I have to understand what exactly is the number which is missing. So even that is very easy for us because as we have modified the nums array, so we know that there is exactly one number which is positive. Okay, so if you check it this, so there is only the number at index 2 which is positive. So eventually the number which we are finding is the index plus 1. So eventually the answer would be 2 plus 1, that is 3. So here it would be 3 because the numbers are starting from 1, right? So that's why we are doing index plus 1 here. So then we will do a for loop again and we will check which number is greater than 0, and we will do an index plus 1 on that part. So here it would be something like this. So the missing would be 3 in this case, and this 2 and 3 we will return it. So I hope you guys are able to understand this thing. So let us move to the code now. So this is the code which looks like I have initialized n is equal to nums.length. I have taken a repeating and a missing variable. So I'm looping through the array, and it's the same thing. I'm just initially checking if the nums dot absolute value, right? Uh, because if you check it here, it can be a negative number. That's why I'm taking the absolute value of it. So if the absolute value of it minus 1, if it's a positive number, that means we have not seen it before. So I will just modify that in that particular element with minus 1 else. So check the else part. So if let's say if it is less than 0, that is the time I will realize that okay, this is this number I've already seen it. So I will just store it in a repeating variable, and this eventually is the first part of this question, the first pass which I had explained, wherein we are negating all the elements, and eventually I will get my repeating as the repeating number. And in the second pass I am just looping through the array once, and whichever number is greater than 0 I am storing it in the missing part, and then at the end I am returning this repeating and missing thing. So I think this is pretty much it about the code, and it is also submitted, accepted. So yeah, so let's talk about the time and space complexity. So as we are looping through the array once, in worst case it is big of n time complexity, and also we are not using any extra space to store anything, so the space complexity remains big of when. So time complexity is big of n, whereas space complexity is big of 1. So yeah, I think this is pretty much about this question. If you have any doubts or any suggestions, do let us know in the comment section. Till then, happy coding.